And welcome to a brand new episode of the Youth Have a Voice podcast. If you're new here or if this is the first time you are seeing me on your screen, hi, my name is Feolami Awe-Joseph, and I am the host of this podcast. Today's episode is really exciting because we've come to the end of the first season of the Youth Have a Voice podcast. And this week is also my birthday week, so today's episode is really, really exciting. Honestly speaking, this season has been so interesting. Starting this podcast has been such an honor to do, and I am so grateful for the support I have received over the past couple of months as I began. Every single guest I have had has been amazing and spectacular. And it's so amazing seeing how different people across the continent have been able to impact so many lives. So, in today's episode, we're going to be doing something different to also celebrate my birthday coming up in the next 3 days. My birthday will be on August 17th. And in today's episode, I'll be speaking about things I have learned over the past year as I'm transitioning onto the next phase of my life and the next year of my life. And I'm really excited to be sharing that with you today. So, the first thing I'll be speaking about is to place God at the center of everything. I've come to realize that you can't live your life without God. There's no two ways around it. God directs you in every single thing you're doing. So either you're for God or you're not for God. So placing God at the center of your life, He will give you direction on the different things He wants you to do, and it will help you to be more grounded and to take the better direction and better steps because He's going to tell you, okay, if you go this way, this could happen. If you go this way, this could happen. And placing God at the center will give you wisdom to know the right pathway to choose and the right direction to choose. So something I have learned is place God at the center of every single thing that you do. So the next thing I have learned is everything happens for a reason. I think before last year, I found it even though I always knew the saying everything happens for a reason, I found it very difficult to hold on to that ideology due to the fact that I used to just think that if everything happens for a reason, why should this happen to me? Which is where also the first point that I said that place God at the center of everything comes from. So even though everything happens for a reason, God will give you the wisdom to be able to go through everything. So when I say everything happens for a reason, sometimes you may have really, really been expecting something and it just does not work out. Maybe because you were not properly prepared or it's just not the right time for you. And sometimes you may think, but I thought I had everything I needed. I thought I was in the right pathway. And sometimes it just happens that, hey, even after all the work you put in, it just did not work out. And sometimes you may end up thinking to yourself, is it that I am doing something wrong? Is it that there's something I need to improve on myself? Especially when you thought that everything was working out fine. So understanding that everything happens for a reason, and sometimes some things are literally just building blocks to take you to where you are destined to be. That's something I have really learned over my past year as I'm transitioning to my next birthday. So understanding that everything happens for a reason and life is in journeys, life is a transition. That's something I have really learned and embraced over the past year. The next point I'll be speaking about is some people come into your life not to stay, but to teach you something you need to learn about yourself. I was recently speaking to my boss about how different people act, and she was also telling me that sometimes things we don't like in certain people may be traits we may have the tendency to have ourselves. So when we have experienced the trait in someone else, it kind of cautions us to understand that, okay, because I didn't like this thing that happened to me, because I wasn't happy with the way I was treated, I understand I shouldn't treat people that way. So many times, it could be even as the guise of a friend. So people may come in a friend form and then that friendship does not work out. It doesn't mean that, oh, that's the end of the world. Some people come into your life not to stay, but they're just there to teach you, to learn more about yourself, or to kind of caution you for the future. Okay, if this should happen, the way this person has acted towards me, I shouldn't react that way, or this is how I should react when I come into certain circumstances. And the way life is that sometimes as something happens now, maybe put through that same test, maybe 6 months after, maybe a year after, maybe 5 years after, to see if you have been able to understand the reason and understand the purpose of being put through that test. So making sure that you understand what the experiences you were able to learn from that certain person is very important. So not everyone is meant to stay in your life. Some people are just there to teach you a lesson, to help you to grow and to develop as a person. And I think that's something I have been really, really learned over the past year as I'm transitioning to my next birthday year, because I have really grown in the past 1 year. My mindset from last year has changed and evolved since my last birthday. And obviously, as I keep on getting older, I'm continually going to change and develop myself. So, understanding that some people come into your life not to stay, but teach you something you need to learn about yourself is very important. And it's something I have been able to learn over the past year. Okay, another thing that I have learned is that it's okay to make mistakes. I think that in certain situations, some people are afraid of failure, or they're afraid of making mistakes, either because they don't like asking for help, or they just don't like the fact that someone has seen them fail, quote unquote. So understanding that it's okay to make mistakes is very important so that you can actually learn. Because the first thing is to admit to yourself that you made a mistake. Okay, I could have done this way. Once you have admitted that to yourself, it's easier to now even grow as a person. So admitting to yourself that it's okay to make mistakes can even make you confident in accomplishing so many other things. Because the reason why so many people are afraid of starting things, or so many people don't start things in the first place, is because of the risk factor involved. Either they're afraid of, oh, what's this person going to think about me? What's that person going to say? What if this does not work out? Well, then what if it does work out? What if no one says anything to you? What if people are proud of you at the end of the day? And over time, the truth is that even people you may have never expected will end up supporting you. Sometimes the people you're looking for support are not the ones that will be your biggest champions and they're your biggest cheerleaders. So understanding that it's okay to make mistakes, and then people will also give you constructive criticism as you grow, as you develop. People will say, okay, I like how you began. You could also incorporate this for better progress. You would also do this in order for you to do some things better. So understanding that it's okay to make mistakes is really important, and have an open mindset, because you don't know it all. Someone who may be correcting in certain things may be saying it because they have been through similar experiences, or that's just their feedback based on what they can see. So the way you perceive something will not be the way I perceive it. So try to, even though you shouldn't dwell on people's opinions can also help you to grow as a person, because the way you may be perceiving something is not the way I am perceiving it. So now being able to have the balance factor to see, okay, this is what this person is actually trying to say, it will go a long way in helping you to grow and develop as a person. Okay, so the next thing I have learned is to be yourself. I can't stress this enough. Being yourself will take you far. If you have a facade of who you are, there's only so long that facade would stay until it wears off. So being yourself and being true to yourself is very important, because if you have a mask on, eventually you're gonna get choked. Eventually that mask will become unbearable to where you may have to start ripping it off, because that's not who you are. So even if you're able to hide yourself from other people, you won't be able to hide yourself from you no matter how hard you try. So being yourself, being true to yourself is what takes you far. Because I think in my space, or in my example on what I believe in yourself is, for example, the current structure I am in is not what will be seen as completely conventional online school, even though over the years through COVID, it has become so much more appreciated. For other people who may be seeing it like, oh, what's she doing? How is she able to do all of this? So being yourself and understanding that everyone is different and everyone's pathway is different is completely important. Because if you're not yourself, and then you're comparing yourself to the other person, like, oh, they're doing this, I'm not doing that. Oh, that person is doing this, I'm not doing that. Then you start to doubt yourself. And then that's where you begin to have a syndrome of thinking, oh, okay, maybe I'm not doing something right. You begin to have the realization and you just begin to think that maybe there's something wrong. So being true to yourself is very, very, very important. Another thing I have learned, which is also a testament through this podcast, the Youth Have a Voice launched on May 1st. I think the first announcement for the Youth Have a Voice was mid-April. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing something through. When I started this podcast, all I had was this book. This book right here was all I had when I started this podcast. I began writing down. So it first of all started with my notes app on my phone, and then I began. So the Youth Have a Voice started with the name in church. It literally just came to my spirit, and then I thought to myself, "Ooh, this name, I like it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I really like the name." So after church, I sat down and I started thinking, okay, I've always wanted to have a podcast. I've always wanted to have something that caters towards youth. This seems like the best way to marry both of them together through this name that has dropped in my heart, the Youth Have a Voice. So from there, I started planning, okay, I want to have a podcast. I know there are many studio based podcasts, but I want to reach people outside of the country. How am I able to do that when I am here in Nigeria and I want to reach people that may be in the United Kingdom, in the US, in Ghana, in South Africa, in Kenya, in Sierra Leone? How am I able to do that when I am based in Nigeria? So I began studying on how to create an online podcast and different ways people are able to do it. I began searching on the different streaming platforms and how podcasts go on different streaming platforms. And as they say, the rest is history. We finally come to the final episode of the first season of the Youth Have a Voice podcast. So that goes to my next point. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing something through. I wouldn't lie, stop being so easy because I record, I edit, I source for all my guests myself, and it's been so fun, honestly. I feel like when you like doing something, it's fun. But I wouldn't say it was a bed of roses because so many sacrifices had to be made sometimes in order to be able to get things done. Sometimes some guests may cancel on you last minute. Some people I had reached out to would air me. So this also goes to say I would like to thank every single guest who has been on the first season of the podcast. You really added so much life and your stories are so inspiring to so many people. You literally have no idea. And as much as I can, I'll continue supporting and cheering you on from where I am because everything you do is so important. So things like that, it was very difficult kind of finding certain people. Some people will leave you on red. Some people will say, oh, they're not available, which is understandable because people are really busy. I don't understand how busy people are. But being able to incorporate that into your own schedule when you also have things you want to do, being able to do all of that and being able to see it through. So it's been so satisfying, and I'm so grateful for how the first season has gone. And this is not the end, definitely not. We're going to be back very, very soon, sooner than you'd expect. And the next season is going to be bigger, bigger than ever. It's going to be more exciting, more interesting, more inspiring to different people. Maybe we may even be expanding outside of continent, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, nothing is more satisfying than seeing something through and seeing something through well. Um, that's another lesson I have learned this year, this past year of my life. Even College Guide Africa, being able to post, being able to grow my community. There are over 40,000 people at the moment. I can't count 40,000 people. I have no idea where they came from, but consistency and persistence and resilience and the grace of God has been able to get me there. And yeah, I'm really grateful, and it's so encouraging being able to inspire so many other people. Another point I'll be speaking about is practice gratitude. I have a gratitude journal, and I would say it's something I would encourage anyone of any age to do, regardless of how old you think you are, how young you think you are. Having a gratitude journal definitely helps you. Apart from the fact that it's such a good way to manage your mental health, having a gratitude journal helps you track things, especially when it seems like you're in a rougher part of life, because it's so easy, especially with the rise of social media, it's so easy to overlook the little things of life. Something you may have wished for, or something you may have prayed for 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you may be living in it right now and you didn't even realize it. So, something a gratitude journal helps you to do is to track down everything, even journaling, just in general. Journaling helps you to reflect, because I think social media has kind of made people to be so social media has made people to be so attached to their phones. Everyone is looking for the next buzz, the next sensational thing. A lot of people don't take the time anymore to actually sit down and reflect. And journaling and having a gratitude journal is the best way to do that. You can start with 5 sentences. Oh, I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for being able to wake up every morning. I'm grateful for being able to move around. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. Literally starting like that. And then over time, you'll see how you'll be able to go into bigger things. Oh, I'm grateful for this job I got. I'm grateful for this car I got. I'm grateful for this deal I got. I'm grateful for money to be able to afford things that I wasn't able to a couple of years ago. I'm grateful for being able to do this. I'm grateful for being able to do that. Having a gratitude journal and just journaling on things that happen to you, it's so beneficial, and it's something that has definitely helped me to become a better person. Because even when I go through certain rough patches and then I look back at the past, or even sometimes if I write something that I was worried about and then overcome it, it's funny looking back, because I'm like, oh, I was a bit worried about this thing and I have now been able to overcome it over time. This thing that I was worried about is no longer of a concern to me because I have been able to grow from the experience, or there was something I needed to learn, or I just needed to be patient at that point in time, and I am now able to overcome the problem I seemed I had. So journaling and having a gratitude journal is so important, and it's something that has definitely helped me over the past year. The next thing I'll be speaking about is know when you need a break. Know when you need a break. I did a whole episode on burnouts, and burnout is such a real thing. Like, burnout can literally make you think that everything you're doing is not worth it. Stop everything, just want to lay around, just want to lay about. So know when you need a break. Don't overwork yourself, because the moment you do that, then burnout comes in, self doubt comes in, anxiety comes in, tiredness comes in, fatigue comes in. So know when you need a break. That's something I have been able to learn, and I hope someone who is listening to me would also be able to learn that there's no need doing stuff back to back to back to back, and then you end up getting migraines, you end up getting stressed, you end up getting angry because you're not able to interact well with people because you're under pressure from the pressure you have maybe set for yourself based on your goals and the timelines you have put on things that maybe didn't work out, or just the pressure to do things just because you think that's what you should be doing based on your comparison to what other people are doing. So know your limits, take a break. You don't have to overwork yourself. Overworking yourself is not what's going to make you successful. Work hard, but know when to take a break. It is really crucial and really essential. The next point I'll be speaking about is never let someone who is nowhere near your goals and value systems stoop you down to their level because of anger. So as you grow, as you develop, you're gonna meet different kind of people. The good. This was something a teacher of mine told me in year seven. You would meet three types of people in this life: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Know which side you want to side in. Do you want to be a good person? Do you want to be a bad person? Do you want to be an ugly person? But the truth of the matter is, you have no control over the kind of people you're going to meet. Yes, you can manage your circle, you can limit your circle, but you're still going to encounter various different types of people in life. So you shouldn't let people's madness, you shouldn't let people's temperaments come into your heart and make you stoop to that level. For example, if you see a madman shouting on the road, if you start shouting with that madman, people will think you're also mad, because no one is going to be listening to the story of two people who are seemingly shouting that seem like two madmen. So never stoop yourself to the level of someone who is nowhere close to your level because of your anger or because of the temperament or because of the emotions they have roused in you. Sometimes take a step back, reflect. You can even complain to other people, but never let yourself get to that person's level. And the last thing I'll be speaking about is hard work pays off. Hard work pays off. Let your work speak for yourself. There's something that my mom had always told me when I was younger. She hates eye service. She used to tell me, let your work always speak for yourself. People who do eye service do it because they feel like that's the only thing that would help them get favors from other people or people from higher positions. When you let your work speak for itself, you don't need to be kneeling down and begging people to get into certain places, because your work speaks for itself. So when you're confident about the abilities you have, people are naturally drawn to you. You don't have to start begging favors or doing things because someone is watching you. When your work speaks for itself, it speaks for itself, and that's final. You don't have to start pretending or acting like someone you're not. So that is so, so, so important. And yeah, those are the things I have learned over the past year. And it's been so exciting being able to share that with you. And now, my birthday is in the next 3 days, and I am really excited for it. It's something that I am always so excited for my birthday. I usually like to say I have a birthday week. So either I have a birthday week or a birthday weekend, depending on what day of the week my birthday falls. So my birthday is on a Saturday this week, which means I have a birthday weekend, and I'm really excited to be sharing that with you. So once again, this is the last episode of this season, and I would like to thank every single one of you who has tuned in to watch or to listen to me today. It's been an honor being on your screen for the past 3 months, and I'm so excited for you to see what's coming next for the Youth Have a Voice. Make sure to follow us on social media. We'll continue to update you, even though this is the end of the season for now. There will still be so many fun things coming up very, very soon. I am extremely excited to share with you. So make sure you stay tuned, and thank you so much for joining. Make sure to share this video with your friends. Make sure to share this with your family members. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will be seeing you very, very soon. But officially, I'll be seeing you in our next season. So thank you and bye.